Now to our three headlines. The first headline is really a continuation of this apocalyptic and horrible story from Southern California. The wildfires that devoured at least two neighborhoods, Pacific Palisades down by the ocean and Altadena up in East LA. And what I've found so remarkable is that the political system in California has been unable to respond substantively to these fires. As I explained last week, wildfires are inevitable in Southern California, and public officials, especially in fire, emergency services, and central administration, mayors, county administrators, the governor of California, should have a solid plan for prevention and then, because the inevitable happens, response. But what they were mired in was this debate about DEI, about disinformation, and about Donald Trump. These are all really spectacular deflections that in some ways are even more troubling than the existence of fire, which is an act of nature, although sometimes arson. And so you see Gavin Newsom this week going on television announcing that he started a website to debunk disinformation. You see MSNBC trying to shift the blame to right-wingers, including me, for pointing out that LA County, for example, is spending millions of dollars on DEI and had reduced funding for emergency services. They're saying that this is a dog whistle for racism and that DEI had no impact on the ability of these departments to fight fires, which can't possibly be true. At the margins, not absolutely, but at the margins, if you reduce the budget for new technology, for disaster response, for firefighting, and you increase that and you place that budget towards DEI and ideological programming, you cannot make the argument that you are devoting the resources towards the optimization of purpose, which is preventing and putting out fires, protecting lives and property. And this whole kind of farce represents, to me, the decline of governance in California. I was born and raised in California, and my parents, migrated to California as my mother, from Michigan as a young person, my father to attend law school as someone in his mid-20s. But they describe it as virtually a paradise. And everyone in that era did. It was functioning, the roads were good, you could rent a house and buy a house and build a family. There was economic opportunity, there was excitement, there was sun, the whole deal, the California dream. And this was the case really leading up to my own time, born in the mid-1980s. And then you see it kind of crest. There was a Schwarzenegger period where he was trying to maybe restore the kind of Hollywood, California dream. And then it just slides into this democratic supermajority, one-party governance, where the taxes are stratospheric. The costs of housing and other goods are through the roof. And yet the quality of public services collapses. I left California in part for these reasons, having made this calculation. And even leaving California, they make it very difficult. I tried to shut down a nonprofit organization. It cost me maybe $25,000 in legal fees and 2 years wrangling with the California state government just to process the paperwork to dissolve a nonprofit corporation. They can't even process the paperwork. How are they going to handle some of these real problems? And I also have been thinking a lot about the fact that California had, the two best, right-wing American presidents of the 20th century, Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan. And there's something in that California spirit that I don't think is totally lost. It's going to be hard to mount this reconquest or reconquista for the right in California, but it's something that we should be thinking about in our in the back of our mind, because there is something about California that is worth saving, that is worth building, that is worth preserving and revitalizing. And I don't think it's by accident that we had such great conservative leaders from California. And I think it's not impossible that we'll have it again.